The Curse of Theodor Velmont. 1. Born beneath a golden ceiling. He was born beneath a golden ceiling, in a room where the walls were hand-painted by Southern masters, and a nanny lulled him to sleep with songs in Old French. Theodor Velmont, heir to an ancient lineage, raised in the spirit of old aristocracy. From childhood, he knew the world belongs to those who grasp it by the throat. His father, Baron Velmont the Elder, often repeated, "Our blood is gold, Theodore. Do not dilute it with compassion. That's poison for the strong." 2. Upbringing without compassion. He was taught to speak without error, eat without noise, and scorn those who could not do the same. He wore velvet when others wore sheep's wool. Servants bowed, merchants groveled, even priests sought approval in his gaze. But behind the manners lay not nobility, but an icy void. Theodore never knew what compassion was. He felt disgust at the sight of a beggar asking for bread. To him, it was weakness. His father said, "First you are a Velmont, then a man, if at all." Theodore followed this rule strictly, even when young maid Lily, eyes red from tears, asked to visit her sick mother in the village. He merely gave her a cold glance and said, "Your duties here are more important than your personal weaknesses. If your mother dies, we'll find you a replacement." Lily bowed silently and left, fists clenched. 3. Master of the estate and solitude. He had become master of a vast estate on the northern outskirts of Corvain. Vineyards stretched around the house, century-old wines rested in the cellars, and the walls were deaf to rain, wind, and pleas. Theodore lived alone, never married, considered emotions a weakness. Servants feared him, avoided direct eye contact, and he believed that was right. Even old stableman Hans, who had served his father and remembered Theodore as a child, now only looked away when Theodore passed. Hans often heard whispers among the staff about an ancient curse haunting the Velmont bloodline for their pride and cruelty. The fair in Corvain and the encounter one early autumn day. He came to the city fair for the first time in years. Dust, chatter, children's laughter, cow manure, and spices all filled him with revulsion. He walked through the crowd like through a fog, detached, disdainful, untouchable. That's when she approached him. A woman in a tattered cloak, hands covered in soil. He felt her before he saw her. The air turned cold as if it thickened. She simply reached for the apples in the servant's basket. He struck her hand. 5. The curse. You street filth. These aren't for you. She looked him in the eye, fearless, wordless. She only whispered, "Now you'll see yourself, truly," and vanished, dissolved into the crowd like smoke. That evening, Theodore felt pain, first in his chest, then in his face. His skin burned like thousands of needles piercing it. 6. Horrific transformation. He ran to the mirror. It did not recognize him. Something else stared back. Skin gray-green, cracked, eyes black. No whites, jaw twisted like a corpse's. He screamed, but his voice had become a rasp, like stones scraping. That night, all the servants fled. One hanged himself in the stables. Another ran to a monastery. Only Theodore remained in a body that no longer belonged to a man. 7. The curse of the Velmont's days blended into endless agony. Theodore wandered through his once grand estate, now a tomb. Mirrors shattered so he wouldn't see his reflection. But he felt his monstrosity in every cell. One day, while scavenging for food in a forgotten cellar, he found an old chest. Inside lay a yellowed parchment, a diary of his great-grandfather. "Baron Renard Velmont, we are cursed," the first lines read, "for greed, for cruelty to the weak, for stolen lands and violated lives. Every Velmont who reaches 40 without knowing true compassion will be doomed to see himself through the eyes of those he scorned. And that will be the beginning of the end." Terror chilled Theodore. This wasn't just a curse, it was a legacy. He recalled his father's words, the teachings that shaped him. Did his father know? Did he knowingly lead him down this path? Ada's final hope. Maddened by loneliness and hunger, Theodore took a desperate step. He remembered Lily, the maid he once refused. Perhaps she alone could help him find the woman and lift the curse. He left the estate under cover of night, wrapped in a ragged cloak to hide his form. He, Theodor Velmont, once feared and revered, was now the kind of wretch he despised, a beggar seeking mercy. He found Lily in her native village, caring for her ailing mother. She recoiled at the sight of him, but her eyes held no fear, only deep sorrow. Theodor, suppressing his pride, rasped a plea for help and told her of the curse. Lily listened, stone-faced. "You want me to help you, Baron?" Her voice was quiet, yet filled with a strength Theodor had never heard. "You, who knew no compassion, now seek it. My mother died, Baron, while you sat in your castle. She faded away because I wasn't allowed to be by her side. You took away my final goodbye, and now you want my help?" 9. Final fall. Theodor fell to his knees, feeling unbearable pain, not just physical, but in his soul. "I'll do anything, help me." "Lily, the Velmont curse cannot be broken, Baron," Lily said, her gaze stern. "It passes from generation to generation until the line ends. You made it this way, every Velmont did. And I cannot help you because you're no longer human. You are merely the reflection of your own cruelty. And your end will be like your family's utter oblivion." She turned away and entered her home, closing the door behind her. Theodor remained alone beneath the cold autumn rain, a silent, broken figure. He realized the curse had not only deformed his body but stripped him of any chance of redemption. He was doomed to wander the earth, invisible and forgotten, a living corpse, forever alone in his monstrousness and chilling loneliness. He tried to scream, but only a feeble rasp escaped his throat. His curse was not in his appearance, but in the complete absence of human compassion and the impossibility of being forgiven. The world had turned its back on him, just as he once turned his back on it. And then came silence. Cold, eternal silence.